Everyone needs to stop talking like Jake is a YouTuber. Jake is a boxer. Jake has more money than 99% of professional boxers on the planet. He has a full-time training camp. He lives with a full-time gym, full-time trainers. He's dedicated his life to this sport for nearly 7 or 8 years. That's a professional boxer. He's an ex-YouTuber. And this whole narrative, I'm just a YouTuber, is a really good...
Jake is this boxer who's absolutely certain he can tear through Andrew Tate in a boxing match faster than you'd believe. We're talking about a fight that wouldn't last more than a few rounds, according to him. That bold prediction has reignited what's becoming one of the biggest potential matchups in crossover combat sports right now. This isn't some random call-out either. Jake's putting his entire reputation behind this statement, and it has the influencer, boxing world, going crazy, trying to figure out what would actually go down if these two massive egos with their huge followings finally settled things in the ring.
I mean, you fight Andrew, how would it go?
I would win very, very quickly.
The whole Paul brothers versus Tate brothers conversation has been brewing in the background for ages now, but something's shifted recently. Fresh comments and new developments have dragged this potential showdown right back into the spotlight where everyone's dissecting every possible angle. Jake's gearing up for what could be his biggest challenge yet, while Andrew's making his comeback after years away from fighting. The timing makes this storyline impossible to ignore for fans and promoters who can already smell the massive money this would bring in. What's really wild is how people aren't even saying if this happens anymore. Everyone's talking about when it happens, which shows just how much steam this fight has built up, and how real insiders think this actually is.
An MMA fight between Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Tristan Tate, Andrew.
Really, we're talking about Andrew here. Tristan's not really in this equation. That's like the light work. 10 mil for Andrew, 10 mil for Tristan, 10 mil for you, 10 mil for me.
But here's what they'll say. I don't need this for the money. You're going to have to slap $50 million for me even to get out of bed. But if you have money, then why is it about the money? What it shouldn't be about the money. It should be solely for entertainment and to figure out who's really about it. And we're telling you.
Right now, Jake's locked in training camp, getting ready for this massive David versus Goliath situation against heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. That's a legitimate world champion with serious knockout power we're talking about here. Critics are already going back and forth about whether Jake's finally bitten off more than he can handle this time. This isn't another YouTuber or crossover athlete. This is the real deal with actual credentials. But even with this huge challenge looming, Jake hasn't stopped talking about what comes after Joshua. Andrew Tate's name keeps popping up in these conversations, like some unfinished business that's just waiting for the right moment. Things got really interesting when Logan Paul started entertaining this wild doubleheader idea, where both Paul brothers would take on Andrew and Tristan Tate in the same event. Picture that for a second. Two brothers fighting two brothers in what would be the ultimate family rivalry that would absolutely break the internet. This idea caught fire immediately, especially given all the online beef between these camps that's been going on for months. Adam Ross jumped into the conversation, basically booking imaginary matchups, putting Logan against Tristan and setting up Jake versus Andrew, which makes sense given their sizes and styles. Even Logan seemed unsure which Tate brother he'd rather face, suggesting he might prefer Andrew for stylistic reasons, but admitting Jake would probably push him toward Tristan anyway, because of how they think about these matchups strategically.
Tristan and Andrew Tate versus you two.
Oh.
That's the fight. I would love it. The two brothers,
fight.
that's the fight.
That
Tristan,
would be
Tristan and Andrew. Who would get Tristan? You'd get Tristan. You're more. No? You want Andrew?
Yeah, he'd probably make me take Tristan.
I feel like
because he's the seasoned boxer.
You fight.
That's a good fight.
That's a good fight. That's fun.
You fight Andrew. How would it go?
I would win very, very quickly. I'm excited to see his fight. He's been out of the ring for a long time.
When Jake finally got asked directly about facing Andrew Tate, his confidence was absolutely rock solid. Not even a hint of doubt. He made it crystal clear he doesn't see Andrew as any kind of problem whatsoever, expecting a quick, decisive finish if they ever meet. That ironclad belief got reinforced when he brought up how long Tate's been away from real competition. From Jake's perspective, that ring rust could be the deciding factor, especially against someone who's been constantly active and improving, while others have been sitting on the sidelines. Meanwhile, people in Tate's circle are painting a completely different picture. Snicko, who's always backing Tate publicly, went on record saying Tate would cruise through his scheduled fight with Chase Damore without breaking a sweat. He described it as basically non-competitive from the start, suggesting Tate only fights when everything's lined up perfectly in his favor. While Snicko wished Damore well as a person, he stayed convinced that Tate would overwhelm him without facing any real resistance, like it would be a one-sided demolition.
Andrew Tate is back. Back on Misfits. He's fighting.
He's the CEO apparently. It seems like they're trying to set something up with KSI in the future. So yeah, that's cool to see that.
You still call Tate? Do you still speak to him? I know you had a relationship earlier. I think like 2023. You were kind of hanging out with him.
It sounded a little gay.
No, not relationship, but like friendship. Sorry, friendship.
No, we were never friends. I mean, I knew him a little bit, but no, it is what it is. He's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing.
Adam Ross backed up that same sentiment, saying Tate's edge goes way beyond just physical attributes. From his perspective, Tate's years of discipline, intense mindset training, and extensive combat sports experience across kickboxing and other disciplines create a gap that someone like Demore can't realistically close, no matter how hard he trains or how badly he wants it. Ross even hinted at attending the event himself, especially if other big names from crossover boxing showed up, which would add another layer of spectacle to something already generating massive attention across social media platforms. The question everyone's asking is simple but loaded with implications. Does he beat Chase Demore? And if so, how convincingly?
Could it even be close? I heard, I don't know if we can put this in there, but Chibu was fucking up Chase Demore in a spar, and that's crazy. And by the way, Chibu's an excellent fighter. Don't get it fucked up now, but that's fucking crazy. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be close. I mean, at all. Andrew's obviously going to finish him. And then hopefully we see Andrew fight KSI next. That's the one that everyone wants to see, for sure.
Good. Would you go to that?
I'll pull up to that one.
You will come.
I'll go to that one. It'll probably be what? Dubai, probably? Yeah. I'll go to that. If they fight, I'll pull up to that for sure. That'd be a good one.
You went to Dubai to meet him before, didn't you?
I've been to Dubai. The first time. That's right. I was in Dubai a few years back, so I'll definitely pull back up again for sure. I would love to. Mam's invited me to this fight next month, but again, we're not gonna, I'm not gonna go to that one, but I'll definitely go to one.
The Tate versus Demore fight has already generated absolutely insane buzz ahead of December in Dubai under the Misfits boxing banner, and we're still weeks away. The buildup has been fueled not just by these conflicting predictions, but by increasingly personal shots being fired between the actual fighters, with trash talk escalating every single day. Their press conference went completely viral, racking up millions of views, making it clear that neither guy has any intention of keeping things professional, with sharp words flying back and forth right there in front of cameras and fans who were eating up every second of drama. Chase Demore took things way further by going after Tate on a personal level rather than just fight talk. A post went viral showing Demore with Bryce Stern, who was previously linked romantically to Andrew Tate in a very public way. The post strongly suggested a friendly, maybe even affectionate connection between Demore and Stern, backed up by screenshots of alleged messages that showed Stern genuinely enjoyed spending time with Demore. The implication was completely obvious and intentional, designed to provoke Tate on a deeply personal level, hitting him where it might actually hurt emotionally. Next level psychological warfare, and everyone could see exactly what Demore was trying to do.
Literally in my DMs, this new generation of people don't understand the lines. Karma is real. Wishing genuine harm on people or insulting people's coaches or doing these terribly things.
Your coach is about it.
You end up paying the price. And we're going to see on the night.
Fraud.
I promise you, continue to disrespect me. Unfortunately for you, you're not going to have a career after.
I'm the heavyweight champion. I do what I want. You do what I say.
The irony of certain interactions during this build-up didn't go unnoticed by fans who remember Tate's early career. Sidekick Boxing, which is a well-known brand with real credibility, had actually supported Tate through his rise in professional kickboxing, standing by him long before supercars and private jets became part of his image. Tate had spoken positively about the brand during his competitive years, really valuing their backing when he was still building his name and nobody knew who he was. Now seeing that same company interact publicly with his opponent on social media, liking posts and commenting, adds another psychological wrinkle to an already emotional buildup. Serious questions have emerged about the actual fight structure, with people digging into the contract details. Demore has directly accused Tate of inserting multiple favorable clauses into the agreement, alleging the deck has been deliberately stacked in Tate's favor from a legal standpoint. According to Demore's public statements, the contract includes specific conditions benefiting Tate, ranging from weight limits and weigh-in protocols to various logistics that could impact fight night performance.
My only question for you is, Andrew, is why did you want 6 rounds and not agree to the 10? Because you don't have the gas tank. Why did you want a weight clause? Because you're not big enough. You're not strong enough. Why do you want your venue, your city, your everything? Why are these the questions that nobody's asking you? We all know the answer to them. We just don't want to say it because you're surrounded by a bunch of yes men.
Even though the bout is being marketed as a heavyweights title fight by Misfits Boxing, Demmer claims both fighters are actually restricted from weighing more than 200 pounds, which would effectively make this a cruiserweight matchup, instead completely changing the dynamic. He also pointed to a rehydration clause limiting how much weight fighters can put back on after weigh-ins, which is huge in combat sports. He expressed genuine frustration over fighting conditions, suggesting the entire event is being set up in Tate's preferred environment, with judges, referees, and even equipment all aligned to his advantage. Demmer alleged there were attempts to dictate his glove selection and require him to use house gear provided by the promotion rather than his own equipment he's trained with for years. Despite voicing all these concerns and making it clear he feels the playing field isn't level, Demmer emphasized he accepted every single condition without resistance, because from his perspective, the priority was simply getting Andrew Tate into the ring and making the fight happen. He framed himself as someone accustomed to being counted out, pointing to a history of entering fights as the underdog and defying expectations through early knockouts that shocked everyone. That underdog mindset, he suggested, would carry directly into this bout regardless of any contractual disadvantages Tate might have secured.
When you're a fighter, you want to fight. So it doesn't have to make logical sense. It doesn't have to be something that
You're not a
you have
fighter.
to sit there and say, how much am I going to get paid? Is it worth it? Fighters want to fight.
You're a fraud.
I've been fighting my whole life,
You're a victim.
and I'm excited to get back in there and do it again. It's all I've ever done.
Chase, you don't believe him. You don't believe that's why.
The only thing he's ever fought is his hairline, man. Like, he's not fought anybody tough. You were 4-3 in light heavyweight. What makes you think you can just hop in the heavyweight division and go fight the champ? You should have started with somebody easier, buddy. I'm not the one.
Why do you think I'm...
Andrew Tate has fully embraced a dual role as both active fighter and powerful executive within Misfits Boxing, giving him influence on multiple organizational levels after a dramatic shakeup that saw him effectively replace KSI's influence within the decision-making structure. Tate was announced as the promotion's chief combat executive officer. This move immediately shifted power dynamics and intensified scrutiny around his debut fight, because now he's not just fighting, he's literally helping run the show. He left Romania, where he'd been based for years, and relocated to the UAE, focusing his entire training camp in Dubai. He's consistently shared updates showing himself in formidable physical condition, including a black eye from hard sparring with real professionals. Rather than hiding the injury, Tate treated it as evidence of legitimate preparation, showing fans he's not taking this lightly and is going through real training camp adversity. The message was clear: this isn't for show. He's ready to inflict serious damage.
I am the guy that's coming to put you away for good.
Just like this, although I am going to beat you, from the bottom of my heart, all bullshit aside, all bravado aside, even though you just threatened a man with 4 children with brain damage, I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, hope you get up and you're perfectly good at it. That's what I hope.
I hope you wake up in a hospital.
Well, that's the difference in our characters, and we're going to see which one God rewards.
In a detailed vlog that racked up massive views, Tate offered a deeper look into his daily routine. Footage showed him sparring multiple partners in intense sessions, arriving early, when it's still dark, grinding through brutal workouts, and leaving last after everyone else went home exhausted. The portrayal highlighted his endurance, pain tolerance, and commitment, qualities he believes will be decisive against Demar, who holds a mixed record with wins and losses, showing he's beatable. Tate's return carries extra intrigue due to his extensive professional kickboxing background, which newer fans might not fully appreciate. With a record boasting dozens of wins and only a handful of defeats accumulated over years against real competition, he enters boxing as a newcomer to the specific rule set, but definitely not a novice to combat sports or fighting under pressure. Some record keepers credit him with around a 75% knockout rate across his kickboxing career, reinforcing the idea he brings genuine finishing power while making the transition to different rules and strategy. Speculation about Tate's future within Misfits Boxing has grown louder since his comeback announcement. Should he defeat Demar decisively, There's already talk about a packed schedule extending, and Tate himself suggested he could compete up to 10 times in a single year, which is insane by modern boxing standards, where most fighters do 2 or 3 bouts maximum. That pace, if he follows through, would completely reshape the promotion and make him the undisputed centerpiece. Potential matchups are being floated with names like KSI, Darren Till, and Jake Paul, frequently mentioned, each offering different narratives and massive commercial appeal. Among all those names, Jake Paul stands out because of the dramatic contrast in style, background, and personality between the two men, making it the most compelling possible matchup.
It's the biggest fight you could have in this world. Jake Paul.
I think it would be. I think that would be quite a...
I faced off a couple of years ago. Was that just a climb?
Yeah, we faced off and then I got thrown in jail. So we had a slight delay, but that would be the biggest fight. Jake's a little shorter than me, but we're around the same height. Everyone talks about Jake like he's a YouTuber. He's not a YouTuber, he's a boxer. He trains to the time, it's his own gym in his own house, a ton of money, best nutritionist. Jake's a boxer, he's a serious competitor, a serious contender. And that would make me a lot more money than Darren. So maybe that's why Darren's so desperate to try and get the fight with me first.
Adding more pressure, Chase Damore publicly stated he would retire permanently if Tate stopped him in the first or second round. That declaration injected even more drama, framing this as a potential career-ending moment rather than just another influencer boxing match. Damore positioned this fight as deeply personal, expressing genuine desire to hold Tate accountable in front of a global audience. From his standpoint, he represents fans and critics who want to see Tate humbled, while Tate views this as a definitive statement in a new combat arena. With Misfits Boxing branding this as a major pre-Christmas spectacle, the organization has leaned fully into the drama, knowing this transcends boxing fans and reaches mainstream audiences.
You know, what do you think about him being the CEO? You're fighting the CEO of the promotion that you're fighting for.
A 38-year-old man coming off his prison sentence, he comes up there and puts me down in the first 7 round, then I would retire from fighting entirely. It's not for me. So I'm feeling very confident going into this. And I think if you remove the followers away from Andrew Tate and take him for what he is, 4-3 light heavyweight boxer, and I was just fighting a random guy. These guys on the internet, these guys on Twitter would be like, oh, you're fighting a 4-3 guy that fights at light heavyweight. You're going to dominate him, you know, because he's got the cult following, because he's got this. People are trying to say he's more than what he is, but you have to take it for what it is, remove the followers, and let's go fight. The followers aren't fighting for you in the ring.
Against this backdrop of rivalries, accusations, and massive egos, Jake Paul's claim that he would dispatch Tate quickly feels less like empty talk and more like a spark tossed onto dry kindling. Whether their paths actually cross remains uncertain, depending on contracts, timing, and whether both keep winning, but the narrative momentum is absolutely unmistakable. Every fight comment and viral moment feeds into growing sense that this collision would be as much about ego influence and cultural impact as technical ability. For now, fans watch these storylines unfold, loaded with hype, controversy, and bravado. Still looming above it all is Jake Paul's confident assessment and the real possibility that sooner or later both men will have to prove whose confidence was justified when words aren't enough, and it's time to settle it in the ring once and for all.